In this lesson, we'll be looking at factorizing quadratics with the coefficient of x squared not equal to 1. If you have looked at the previous lesson, we have already looked at factorizing quadratics with by making use of product and sum method. In this lesson, I'm giving you a method that I call as cross method, and it is more like a trial and error method, but it works well as the other method that we followed in the previous lesson. So let's look at this example and see how that works. So if you in this case, for the cross method, the first thing that you're going to do is make a cross. On the left hand side, you write the multiples of coefficient of p squared, so which is 3. So the multiples of 3, because it is an odd number, the multiples will be the number itself and 1, so 3 and 1. On the other side, that is the right hand side of the cross, you're going to write the multiples of 5, which is 5 and 1, and then we are going to cross multiply. So we are going to cross multiply and see what we get. So 3 times 1 is 3, 1 times 5 is 5. Now since I want so it's again similar to our product method, so we want the product to be negative 15, or which means out of 5 and 3, one of them will be negative, and the middle term is negative, which means the bigger number will be negative. So if I make this negative, so what will happen, I can check here, negative 5 times 3 is negative 15, it works. And if I go negative 5 plus 3, it gives me negative 2, so it works. So instead of doing all those steps where you were splitting the middle term, you can just do that in one step here. So we are just using trial and error method here. So after that, after putting that negative sign, we have to make sure that that negative sign gets transferred here with our right hand side number, which is negative 5. And then you put the letter, and in this case, we are factorizing 3p squared minus 2p. So put p next to your 3. So this letter will always go with the left hand side number. And then you make a bubble horizontally. So these horizontal bubbles are your factors. So your answer will be 3p minus 5 and p plus 1. Let's look at another example so that this method makes more sense. So the second one is 2n squared plus 3n minus 9. So first step is to make a cross. So let's make a cross. Second step is to write the multiples of the coefficient of n squared, which is 2, which will be again 2 and 1, and write the multiples of 9, which will be 9 and 1. So and in this case, I'll start with 9 and 1. So let's do 9 and 1, and now cross multiply. So 2 times 1 is 2, 1 times 9 is 9. Since when I times them, I should get negative 9. It definitely means that one of the factor is minus, and the sign in the middle suggests that it should be the smaller number that should be minus, then only we'll get positive 3. So I'll put negative here. Now 9 take away 2 is 7. It does not give me the middle number, so this does not work. So definitely these are not my factors. So now we have to do, so like this is in trial and error method, so we have to try again. So again we'll make a cross and keep the numbers on your left hand side as it is, 2 and 1, and now write different factors. So let's write the factors as, say, 3 and 3, and let's check whether this works. And your factors will be, so when you times it will be 3, and 6, 2 times 3 is 6. So like we already discussed, so the smaller number will be negative. So let's put a negative sign here, and 6 take away 3 is 3. So these two numbers definitely work. So transfer that negative sign here, and write the letters with the left hand side numbers and draw your bubbles, and your answer will be, or your factors will be 2n minus 3 and n plus 3. So we have factorized this one. Let's look at another example. The more you practice, the better your understanding of the trial and error method will get. So the third example that we are going to take is 3n squared minus 8n plus 4. Again, draw a cross. On the left hand side, you write the multiples of 3, so which are 3 and 1. On the right hand side, write the multiples of 4. So this time I'll just write 2 and 2 and see if it works. 3 times 2 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2. Now I have to look for the negative sign because the middle term is negative, so and the last term is positive, which means both of my factors are going to be negative. So negative 2, negative 6 gives us negative 8. Yes, it works. So we are going to transfer that negative sign with our numbers here, and we'll write our letters here, make a bubble, and our factors, the final factorized form will be 3n minus 2 and n minus 2. Let's look at one more example. And in this case, let's look at 5n squared plus 19n plus 12. So first, draw a cross, write multiples of 5 on one side, so 5 and 1, write multiples of 12 on the other side, so let's do 6 and 2. Check. 5 times 2 is 10, 1 times 6 is 6, and definitely all are positive, so we are going to add them. So 16, but I am looking for 19 in the middle, which is not working, so we'll cross it. This method doesn't work, so we can draw a cross again, and this time I'll keep 5 and 1 as it is, and I'm going to flip these numbers. So let's write 2 on the top, 6 here. So 5 times 6 is 30, 1 times 2 is 2, and it is giving me 32. Definitely not working. So which means I have to look for some other factors here. So since it's 12, the other factors can be 3 and 4. Let's try that. 5 times 4 is 20, and 1 times 3 is 3. So 20 take away 3, sorry, 20 plus 3 is 23. Again, it doesn't work. So the next step will be to flip your 3 and 4. So let's flip them. So 5 times 3 is 15, 1 times 4 is 4, and we notice it works. So our factors are now 5n plus 4 and n plus 3. So it will be 5n plus 4 and n plus 3. So I've intentionally taken different multiples so that you can see how the trial and error method works. Sometimes you can do it in your head and you can figure out that these numbers will work, and that will be the quickest way. But sometimes you'll have to, it will take some time to play around with the numbers. Let's do one last example. Two n squared plus 5n plus 2. So draw your cross, write multiples of 2, write multiples of 2 on the other side. So 2 times 2 is 4, 1 times 1, and I'm doing cross multiplication. 1 times 1 is 1. Since all are positive, so we are going to add them. So 5, so it works. So our factors are 2n plus 1, 1n plus 2. So 2n plus 1 and n plus 2. In the next lesson, we'll be looking at factorizing difference of squares.